We've been driving around, singing songs way too loud because we wanna. Picking up our love friends, fill up the car till it bends because we wanna.
Good morning. So we are parked up in a camping car at St Suzanne-et-Champs. So we didn't quite make it all the way to Rennes, as I previously said we might do. So we're in the middle of Rennes and Le Mans. We're actually in a really cool historic place, which we're going to go and explore in a minute because Tracy is very excited, so she'll tell us all about that. But I thought I'd update you on our water alarm. So, oh, it says fresh water empty.
Oh, shouldn't be.
Which
We filled it up.
Yeah, so the alarm is still sounding when the tank is full. So what we've done for now, we've just silenced the alarm. So this is how we muted the alarm for the water sensor. So you go to the middle button here, you scroll through until you get to the sergeant section, to this bit, and then you hold down this button for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then water alarm. So I've changed it to off, so you use the bottom arrow again so you can have it back on, but we're going to leave it off, and then that is it. You come back up to here, go through, exit advanced settings, yes, and there we are, back to the home screen. Here's the camping air. It's 21 spaces and only 20 have electric. It's €13.20, I think, or €13.40. Pretty good. So to enter your gas, you have to come to the public car park next door. So we're parked down there. But they've also got toilets that are open, which is good. So it turns out to use the general waste, you've got to pay, which is €2.80. I did try to pay, but didn't have my Revolut card on me to scan, and I don't like using my normal cards that are saved on the phone. So we're going to take it back to the van as we haven't got much. But we got rid of the plastics. Looks like there's a good walk down there.
And in the medieval and later periods, the river around this promontory had a lot of mills on it, and there remains of a paper mill. Maybe it is a paper mill. And this little town was famous for its playing cards from the paper mills, and the ones that were most celebrated, strangely, were the tarot cards.
This is what I love about French towns. You can see this street just hasn't changed at all.
As the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise.
So this was built as a fortress town. It's triangular shaped, and it has the castle this end, which would have been effectively what I would know as a Motte and Bailey castle, even though that post-dates this particular castle. The church over there was probably started in the 11th century. They've got a documentary date I read from 1122, and then you have, and the church and the castle were always connected within the walls. You can start to see the towers as we go round, and on the other side there you'll see there's a chateau, and the chateau has been remodelled, I think, sort of in essence to reflect the Renaissance, which was 14th through to 16th century. So that may well have a 14th through to 17th century route, which is fascinating, isn't it? So this is a single phase chateau building. You can see it's reflective of many other chateaus that you'll see from the sort of high Renaissance period. Steep roofs, large chimneys, circular towers and walls, and a very commanding spot which is literally overlooking all of the land. So the lord of this place, I think in the 18th century, would have delivered that, maybe 17th century. Yeah, so this has been a defensive site since the 11th century, which links the date of the church to this, which is probably likely to have been a mound with dry earth walls, and then it was fortified again in the 12th century In this area there was the 100 Years' War from 1337 for 100 years-ish, and there were further advancements with the outside walls going in place and the towers, and then I think finally as gunpowder came in 16th 17th century, there were what we have in Jersey, which I think are the machinations, where they literally have spaces you can drop things onto people as they try and scale the walls.
Oh, it's just beautiful. I'm going to go down this way first, see if we can get a better view of the chateau.
Yeah, so I think these are the rampart walls. I think they were partially rebuilt in the 19th century actually, but you can start to see towers, which show that this was a linked series of towers and walls which have made it much stronger. It's beautiful work.
It's nice, eh? The chateau.
Gosh, that almost looks like this is the early one, and then it's been rebuilt. Well, it's not been rebuilt, it's been largely kept, and then the sort of posh new
bit,
one
yeah,
is over the other side, because this looks like it's been titivated, but the base building...
Titivated?
Yes, a very good word. With the very steep roofs, and the window there, which looks almost 18th century. So it looks like they've added to this to embellish it, but actually the brand new one is in the back over there.
Yes, very in very good condition.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? I'm in heaven. It's brilliant. I'm just taking so many photographs.
So the street looks really cool. Well, I say cool, Tracy's like historic.
Well, it is. You can see this huge wealth here. Normally, the walls to houses wouldn't have been constructed this high and in this way. But when you look at the plan form, you can see the clusters of buildings, and then as they've gone through the centuries, you've started to have gardens next to houses rather than buildings just clustered together.
Dreamy, breezy, we go.
One of the other things I love, in Jersey, we've got a pointing technique called pierre perdu, which is roughly translated as lost stone. When you come to France, traditional way of pointing is literally to largely lose the stone. So in Britain we'd have joints that ran round each stone. They've buttered this over, and this is probably the root of the Jersey pierre perdu. So this is called the Grand Rue, and this is the main street, which is absolutely brilliant. At the end of it we've got a defensive tower. We've got the alleyways through to the back yards, and the buildings are really tightly clustered together, which tends to show that this was a defended space, which meant people wanted to come in here rather than live in the outskirts.
Hand in hand, building castles out of sand, reaching for the grand. As willows align, we lose track of time. Head up high, now we climb.
I just thought of another Jersey thing. So the 16th century house up there, which was actually built for one of the royal protectors who would have probably claimed taxes in this area on behalf of the king, has an accoladed or decorated sill to the principal window in the gable above the principal door, and we have that in medieval houses in Jersey, which indicates that that's the principal solar or bedroom. Fascinating. So outside the defensive town walls, at more peaceful times, people started to create gardens or places where they could enjoy this fantastic view down to the river. And it's lovely that are still terraced and being used today. So if you look from here, you can see the terraces go down and down and down towards the river. And that's very typical of what happens in the 18th and 19th century when things settle down and people start to break out of the town walls. The reason this place is so spectacular is because you can still read all of this, it's still here. Whereas most places we've been to in France, they've got a suburban housing estate over all of this. And because it's a hilltop town, I think it's not allowed that to happen. It's also important to note that this river served a series of mills. So you can see buildings down on the river. And the mills from 12th century onwards were a source of great wealth. And in France, that would have been wealth that would have gone to the crown and the king, which is why you've got the protectorate houses inside the town walls there. So every fortified town had to have gates for commerce, and usually you'd have quite big gates so you can get carriages and various other things through. This is fascinating. So you've got a very small portal here, which almost suggests this would have been the night gate, but next to it, this very large arch. And all I can think was that that might have been there to allow horse riders to go through without being unseated.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's a lovely door too. That's one of the defensive towers.
There's a Wifty on patrols. He's on guard.
Tash, it's an early defensive tower. And you can see where the walls have broken down over the years. So this has been changed into a house, which has got a fantastic cantilever roof over what would have been the town wall. It comes down to here. That suggests to me that this would have had a gate or an arch in it. And then you've got a modern wall here. And that's the remains of the old wall. You can see from the way it's been constructed with the lows or the clay infill. What a fantastic little place.
Cover agents of the other.
Got our supplies.
Happy days.
Yes. Smells amazing. So we're heading back to the air. Tracy's distracted by all the buildings.
Sorry. Back in the room.
Yeah, we're going to head to St Malo now. So we're going to end this video here.
Indeed, what a fantastic place to end it.
Yes.
Do come. If you're this way, do come.
Yes. I forgot what I was going to say then. The thing that's really good about this town, so as Tracy said, yeah, you definitely need to come here. And this is what I love about France, is they've got the big car park so everybody can park, and then next to it they've got spaces for coaches, and then next to it is a camping car area so everybody can enjoy it.
Absolutely.
No, it's really good, yeah.
Very well appointed. So if you enjoyed this video, it would be lovely if you would subscribe, because it's free and it helps us and it helps us grow our channel.
Yeah.
And if you do subscribe, don't forget to tick the bell so you get notifications when the next one comes along.
So we'll see you in the next one where we'll be getting on the ferry. So au revoir.
Au revoir.
Yeah, we just wanna have fun. The trunk's full of